Incoming Trump press secretary destroys the Biden administration with her epic take. Guys, I think you're going to like this one. It is no secret that the Democrats just hate Trump. They froth at the mouth at the mere thought of the orange man, and what you're about to witness is no exception to that. So we're going to get right into it, and it's going to be good. But first, do me a big favor here. Like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you guys this great, hard-hitting content. As always, my friends, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
Well, later today, on January 6th, Congress is going to certify President-elect Trump's election results, and President Biden wasting no time cementing his far-left climate legacy with a last-ditch effort permanently banning offshore drilling in most U.S. waters. Incoming White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt joins us right now. Karoline, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to see you, Steve.
It's good to see you. So on the way out, in his last 2 weeks, what he's trying to do is he's trying to slow down Donald Trump, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. This is a disgraceful decision by the Biden administration. And I say the administration because we all know Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on. This isn't him. This is the radical left environmental extremists in his administration who don't care about what's in the best interest of the American people who just reelected President Trump with a resounding mandate to drill, baby, drill. This decision, the intent behind it, is to exact political revenge on the American people and on President Trump to try to slow down his administration and make it harder to implement the agenda that he campaigned on. But the good news is President Trump is going to get to work to day one. His administration will look at how we can rescind this radical order and expedite permits for drilling and for fracking to bring down the cost of living and energy in this country. That's what he campaigned on, and the American people can expect President Trump to deliver on that promise. He will not be deterred.
Well, she's of course right, and I have a big question here. Why didn't Biden do this sooner? If climate change, as they call it, is such a grave, terrible, dangerous threat to humanity, why did Biden wait until just before he was out of office to make this big ban? I think the answer is obvious because it is merely symbolic. He doesn't actually care about any of this climate change crap. Biden is just trying to, throw some red meat for the base, or, Biden, if it's not him, the people puppeting him. Say, oh, look, well, we tried, we banned this, and then Trump undid it. That evil orange meanie. That's going to be the talking point later when they run in 4 years. It's all just so predictable and stupid. Also, something to note here is that Biden or any of these other leftists don't actually care about this climate stuff, and they don't even believe it. Okay, and if you don't believe me, just take a look at their actions. All right, actions speak louder than words. Look at the Obamas, right? They own all this waterfront property. They were so concerned about the rising sea levels. Why are they owning this stuff on an island? It's all so ridiculous. You ever see that meme with Obama, or Barry as I like to call him, and Leonardo DiCaprio? He's like, boy, Leo, he's yelling from his private yacht. It sure is such a shame about the rising sea levels, ain't it? And then Leo says, I know, Barry, seriously, it's just terrible. Meanwhile, those two are flying around on a private jet. So was Biden climate czar John Kerry, who'd fly on a private jet to his climate summits and then talk about, you need to stop driving gasoline cars, you dirty peasant. You're killing the world. There was even a time when a reporter asked Biden climate czar John Kerry, saying, hey, if you really believe in this climate change stuff, why are you flying around on a private jet that does way more emissions than a gasoline car does? Isn't that a little bit hypocritical? And you can't make this up, guys. You know what Kerry said? He answered, well, when you're somebody like me, who I offset my emissions by doing my climate activism, so people like me, it's okay. I'm not even kidding. All right, that's a quote. He said, people like me. That's how full of themselves they are. They hate you. They think they're better than you. Never forget it.
Here's the thing, Caroline. Apparently, a lot of these lands, and we're talking about the East Coast, West Coast, down the Gulf Coast, and up around the Bering Sea, a lot of these areas, gas refiners have not really had any interest in developing anyway, but nonetheless, it's just symbolic. And I know it's going to be challenged in court, and I know that Republicans can change the law. But still, for him to do it in the last 2 weeks, rather than his first 2 weeks, it speaks volumes.
It does. As I said, this is the Biden administration simply trying to throw a sucker punch at President Trump on Joe Biden's way out the door.
Right.
But this is going to be Joe Biden's legacy, not doing what's in the best interest for the American people to bring down the cost of living and inflation that has been robbing them of their hard-earned paychecks every week. No, it's about throwing stones at those who don't believe in their ideology. It's about being anti-Trump, not pro-America. But that's all going to change on January 20th, rest assured. heard.
And that
I do got to say, there is something we got to thank Biden for, all right? I honestly think he purposely set up the Democrat Party for failure and went after them, and it's kind of base. All right, before you get mad at me and start barking down my throat for saying that about Biden, look, let's just consider that right after Biden got dropped out, right? He was obviously forced out of running for the 2024 election. He endorsed Kamala Harris within, I think, like 30 minutes. Meanwhile, what did Barack Obama do? Barack Obama was quiet. That was very noticeable because he didn't say anything for about 2 to 3 days. Why did Biden endorse Kamala? In my opinion, it's because he knew she was a terrible candidate. He obviously knew that Kamala dropped out of the Democrat primary back in 2020 before the state of California. Okay, that was her own state. She was a senator there, and she's polling at 0%. That's how bad she sucks, all right? Even basement Biden, who's got dementia, doesn't even know what planet he's on half the time. Even that senile guy was a bit more electable than Kamala, and I think that's why he endorsed her. You know, he said, fine, you don't want me, Jack? All right, I endorse Cammy. And, you know, he sealed the fate. And then, let's not forget that just a week later, he put on a MAGA hat. You know, we all forget that happened, but it did happen. I don't know, you know, Joe Biden redemption arc? Who knows? You know, it's kind of a joke, but hey, he did kind of help us in a way. So I appreciate you, Joey B, in some ways.
That is exactly 2 weeks from today. Now, today, January 6th, this is a day when, according to our laws, they've got to certify the presidential election. What is throwing kind of a monkey wrench into things, Karoline, is the fact that it's a snow day in Washington, and the federal government technically is closed. The schools are closed. Everybody, but Republican leaders said, hey, members of Congress who are Republicans, make sure you stay in town over the weekend, and most of them did. Democrats left town. But nonetheless, it sounds like there will be enough Republicans in the Capitol today to certify the election.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. And they must do so because President Trump received a resounding mandate on November 5th, 312 electoral college votes. He won the popular vote, and the American people want him to get to work from 2 weeks from today. So let's certify this election. And then Congress needs to immediately get to work to start drafting a big, beautiful bill that needs to make its way to President Trump's desk as soon as possible. He wants one package to make America safe and wealthy again, to include border security measures, more funding for Border Patrol and ICE so that they can hire more people to help implement the mass deportations that President Trump promised and the American people elected him to implement. And this package also needs to include critical tax relief. We must extend the Trump tax cuts and add President Trump's signature campaign promise to end taxes on tips. Republicans need to get tough and smart, stick together, send this bill to the Resolute desk. President Trump will be there to sign it in a couple of weeks.
It goes without saying that part of the reason that Donald Trump's resounding win was so big is that Americans are just tired of how crappy our country is getting, whether it's inflation, the out-of-control border, the crime. It's just out of hand. And the Democrats, they're just terrible at what they do. But I do think there's something important that we all need to keep in mind here. The only reason why they didn't just sentence Trump to jail, in my view, is because he was elected at such a huge margin, which is both good and bad. It's good in the fact that it didn't happen. It's terrible, but it's bad in that look at what the Democrats got away with. You know, I really hope there's some accountability. I will say, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I have a feeling there won't be accountability because just look at the COVID stuff, right? We had, I would call, I'm not going to get into it, but there needs to be some accountability from the reactions of the COVID stuff, especially for people like Tony Fauci, and none of that ever happened. So will it happen after this? I don't know, but I truly hope it does.
Karoline, I got to ask you one more question because you just brought up something that was brand new news last night, and that is President Trump has thrown his weight behind this idea of just one bill, one big, beautiful bill by Memorial Day. I know there are a lot of top Republicans who have said it's got to be two bills because you want to get border and you want to get energy done real fast. But taxes are going to take it, you know, up. It's going to take months to argue about that and figure that out. So what happened? Why did they change their minds?
Well, President Trump is the leader of the Republican Party. He has officially weighed in on this as of last night. He wants one bill, and Republicans need to get it done. We must stand strong together. The American people just reelected President Trump again with a resounding mandate to implement these promises that he made to them. They are needing critical relief in both the form of border security to end the invasion of illegal immigrants that we've seen at our southern border over the past 4 years. They want mass deportations. That's why Congress needs to provide that critical funding for Border Patrol. But simultaneously, tax relief is just as high as a priority. President Trump campaigned on that as well. So one bill to President Trump's desk. That's what he wants. Republicans need to get it done.
Okay, indeed. Karoline, thank you very much for joining us today from down in Florida, where it's much warmer than it is here in the Northeast.
I will say, In addition to curbing illegal immigration, I hope they actually do the mass deportations, not just violent criminals, by the way. It should go farther than that. I hope that we also have some changes made to legal migration, because it's insane how many immigrants we take a year. Just to give you an example, in 2022, under the Biden administration, we had 2.5 million illegal immigrants come in. That's literally the city of Chicago entering our country here. It's crazy. We need to curb all of it. Anyways, what do y'all think? Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Please be sure to comment. Let us know what you liked about the video and what you want to see in the future. And also hit that subscribe button down below so you can see more of our great content. We appreciate you tuning in. God bless you.